Mic check, mic check, mic check. Sound is good. S- Okay. Hey, how's it going, Dante?
Hey, good chief. How's it going?
It's going good, man. Yeah, I'm just giving a few more people a chance to get in here before we kick this thing off. We're just gonna do like a 35-minute recap of some of the discussion that took place yesterday.
I'll be on your side of the world in April.
Oh man, awesome. What you coming out here for?
Support that AFRICOM mission. Help stand up AFRICOM's GPC. I'll
Awesome,
be filling that gap when 100 closes.
awesome stuff, man. Yeah, I gotta get down there to check you guys out there. Yeah, I've been meaning to do some TDY down there anyway.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it. Like, they finally got me in an arms room. Got a new company commander, and I impressed him one day because I literally have nothing to work with, and I'm making magic down there.
Oh, I know it, man. Yeah, that's the name of the game. Yeah, that's one of our greatest skills and abilities, man. 'Cause a lot of us come from humble beginnings, so we know how to make things do.
Yeah, we didn't turn in everything. We're getting ready to case our colors in the summer, and
Okay,
like I'm down. I got a schoolhouse workstation, and I'm making it happen.
that's awesome, man. Yeah, that's what's gonna set you apart, in this new army coming up. Everything's starting to dwindle down and a lot of fiscal austerity.
Yeah,
So they're gonna need
yeah,
innovative leadership like you have to lead the charge.
yeah. I finally got my head out my 4 point of contact, so get back
Yeah.
on track.
Hey, that's everybody, man. That's everybody. That's why we want you guys to mentor, 'cause so many guys, they never get their head out of there. So how's Bragg? How you like it? How'd you
I
like it out
like.
there?
Actually like Bragg. I miss Stewart, but I like Bragg.
Yeah.
Bragg is Bragg. I like the opportunities here because like I taught November, December. I taught at Foundry, so I like the opportunities here. Um, I can't. I'm not gonna talk bad about the hundredth, but it was an experience. It was a definite learning experience. But overall, I like Bragg. I don't like the traffic, and I don't like the everybody's in a rush. But overall, it's not. It's faster than Savannah, but it's
Yeah.
slower than where I'm from.
Okay.
So it's like I kind of like it. I can see myself here a little while longer.
There's nothing wrong with that, man. Yeah, I'm down to like my last 5, 6 months out here in Germany, and I'll be coming back to the States.
Where's the great army sending you next? You coming down here?
No, I'm going to Boulder, Colorado, to work with
Oh,
Envy for a year. Yeah, I'll be helping them guys
oh,
develop curriculum, and then after that, I'll be going to trade out to train folks. That's probably where I end up retiring at.
yeah. I'm crossing my fingers. I got an opportunity to go work on the other side of Bragg coming up
Okay,
when I come back off this TDY. I'm interviewing for that now,
it's nothing
and
wrong with that.
I want to go to McDill or Southcom. I want something different.
Yeah, yeah, you got to
I
keep it
missed the
moving.
cutoff. I missed the cutoff for civil affairs because I was going to actually just change career fields, but I missed the cutoff for CA.
Yeah.
So then see what's out there. I'm gonna try my hardest to stay the long haul now. I was ready to quit. The hundredth almost made me quit, but I can't quit now.
Oh man. Yeah, don't quit. Don't do that because it's always gonna be some downfalls. Yeah, stay the course and stick it out. How much time you got in now?
8 and a half.
Okay, yeah, yeah, you gotta stick it out, man. You gotta stick that out. It's only uphill for you from here.
Yeah, I just got to get over this last little hump, and then I'll be good.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I'm gonna see if we can get at least one or two more in. Then I'm gonna go ahead and recap. That way we get, a well-rounded discussion on what was covered yesterday. I'm particularly waiting on Amir because he has all the notes, and I know he'll be able to give us a recap of those notes, and then I'll just run through that slide deck one time. So for the outline audience, we able to capture exactly what this group and organization is about in words, because I know a lot of people aren't going to take the time to read through all that dialogue that was placed up on the sites. But yeah, man, I agree with what you wrote me back. It's hard to get a civilized conversation about some of these issues out of folks.
It's a it's a I'm in a couple of I wouldn't say actually I just left a couple of like pro African American groups, and it's all they breed is like hate. It's no, you try to hold an intellectually stimulating conversation in a group and you're singled out as a coon or Uncle Tom, or
Yeah,
trying to, if you're not, what is it, if you're not participating in the foolery, they don't want to hear it. They'll listen to somebody to get on a soapbox and condemn whoever, but they won't come, we can't sit down and develop a solution. And
yeah,
it frustrates me.
I know what you mean. And you're not the only one that feel that way. That's why I want to really, really, really advocate this group and steer it, in the direction that it needs to go. And we need more folks because, right now, it's me and Amir doing all the leg work here. But that steering committee will keep this thing working towards a vision, and that's something that we'll talk about after this inaugural, and as we set up subsequent web seminars and offline meetings between the people who really dedicated to help move this thing forward. We'll talk about a steering committee to get this thing going, because I definitely don't want to be a whole bunch of talk and no action, because it's something
Yeah,
we, yeah,
that's what I'm really tired of. It's a lot of talk. It's a lot of talk, no actions. And I questioned one of the groups I was in. I questioned leadership. I said, nobody has risen in the community. I said those that want to lead will step up, but nobody will follow.
yeah,
Everybody will complain and gripe, and then that deters that leader, because if he can't get enough followers to support him, he's gonna lose interest. You can be hard charging all day, but if there's nobody there with you, what's the point of charging? And it's like a breakdown. It's like that we still stuck with that crab pot mentality.
yeah,
It's one
absolutely.
guy at the top and he's already out and he's trying to reach back to get everybody else out, but everybody that's in is trying to pull those that are trying to get out back down.
You're
Which it's
absolutely right. Yeah, you're
we're too,
absolutely right about that. And that's where that expectation management comes into play as well, because some things take time, and folks have to realize that you got to stay the course. Anybody who studies history, they know that MLK and Stokely Carmichael, Malcolm X, and all those other key players, when there were hundreds and hundreds of other guys, but they stayed the course. They didn't achieve what they did overnight. And a lot of guys, they think they're going to come and sit in one meeting or do one literal march out in the street and yell and shout all kinds of profanities on bullhorns, and then tomorrow wake up and see a change. No, it takes planning and proper execution, and it also takes staying the course and steering in a direction that's going to be effective, that's going to truly get after something, that's going to truly identify problems. So that's the thing that we're going to have to truly, truly, truly hone in on once this thing start to really gain traction.
finally something positive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely, man. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know where Amir is, but in about 2 minutes, if he's not on, I'm just going to run through the slides and recap this thing myself, and then I'll post those minutes from the original conference that took place on the 11th. I'll post those on the site, on Twitter, for people to read and listen in on. It's almost well, it's kind of a tragedy, that that thing didn't record yesterday, because it was a momentous occasion for me. That's how I teared up a little bit on it, because that to have that many brothers in one room, a virtual room, speaking together, nobody at odds, nobody grandstanding on one another, nobody talking hate, but as opposed to talking love, and nobody's belittling women, but we sitting together, putting our minds and brains together, trying to find ways to uplift sisters as well as young brothers. It was just beautiful, and it upsets me that it didn't record, but everything happens for a reason, And here we are doing a recap, and there'll be other sessions afterwards, and I'm quite sure that's not the last that we'll get that kind of a response. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and kick into this thing, Dante. I appreciate you joining, man. If you got uh, any comments to add as I go along, please do so, because two minds are better than one. And if you remember something that took place yesterday that I'm glazing over, because the whole purpose of this is to recap and make sure that I document verbally and with a video what the mission of this organization is, so that outliers who may be interested can come on board, and those who may not know that they're interested can come on board and gain a better understanding of what it is that we're here to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll through that deck real quick. You can see my slides, bro.
They're up. I see them.
Okay. All right. Basically, what took place yesterday was the inaugural mentorship virtual seminar. And right now, we're live on the air. So, any outliers out there who have a question, you can tweet those questions to MMMBB01 at Twitter. And you can also send an email to the same at gmail.com. Just a little brief history on the group. Founder is myself, and a little bit about myself. I'm from Savannah, Georgia. Right now, I'm on active duty, and I have been for the past 16 years in the Army, and I'm serving in Europe. Got a bachelor's degree in education and intelligence operations, and I'm currently working towards my master's degree at Pennsylvania State University. Co-founder is Amir Weston. He's an Air Force non-commissioned senior non-commissioned officer of 16 years. He and I went to high school together, played basketball. He has a beautiful family. He's living in D.C. I came to him in August following the Trayvon Martin judgment, verdict, and some other things that's been happening throughout our lives. Following all those things, it boiled up to an idea that we put together some sort of a mentorship, and he was instrumental in making this thing into a reality. And he'll probably be logging in here shortly to read the minutes from yesterday. And the reason that we're recapping this thing is we ran into a technical difficulty where the video didn't actually get recorded. So we're going to recap. We're not going to go as long as we did yesterday, maybe 35 or 40 minutes, just to make sure that we capture this historic, momentous occasion. And this is the start of something great. I know it and I feel it. And we're going to see this thing through to the end. Yesterday in attendance, we had Mark Bryant as a guest speaker down in Florida. We had Amir Weston, as stated before. We had unknown person, I'm not sure who that was. We had brother Martise Jackson in Europe. He's also an engineer like myself, and Dante. We had a D Key, Master Sergeant in Belgium in the United States Army. He's been in the military 19 plus years. He provided a great deal of insight as well. And we had Dante Hill, who's online with us now, so graciously to help us recap anything that I might be glazing over. And of course, myself, Gus Wright. I'm just going to scroll through to the next. All right, the overview for yesterday was to ensure that after the seminar, attendees were able to identify with the Million Mentors March for Black Boy mission and discuss the importance of mentorship, perhaps become a mentor or contact a willing mentor if you're in need of one. We wanted to discuss what our mission was not, and we also wanted to discuss what the mission is, and then let folks know how they can become a mentor through this site or by other means. Um, we had guest speaker Mark Bryant, who provided a great deal of insight from his experience in life, and we'll publish that information through the notes and get him to chime in on our blog sites as well. And you guys can look forward to hearing from him in the future as we do these things quarterly. So you can expect us again maybe 90 days from now, or a little more, plus or minus, depending on everyone's schedule, but we're going to see it through. And Rob Booker was also slated to be a guest speaker. He ran into some tech difficulty as well. And we had insights from Tracy Willard. And when this organization was first put together, we wanted to maintain focus, and we still want to maintain focus on black boys specific. But the group agreed yesterday that if there is a willing young lady out there to stand up a similar group for black girls, we will support in any way possible. Like I said before yesterday, lots of the graphics and the agenda and write up and the mission statement was put together by myself, and a lot of the tech details was handled by co-founder Amir Weston, and lots of other talents and skill sets are already showing interest in making steps to help our group move forward. And those gentlemen yesterday, all that I listed on the first chart, have all expressed that they're willing to help support any sister who wants to establish such a site. So, as stated, our contact information on the front chart. If you are that one, just reach out and we'll help you get started so that we can provide the same type of service for young black females. All right. At this point, during the discussion yesterday, we wanted to point out that we're going to discuss problems that we've identified, what our mission is not, what the mission statement is, and the rules of engagement then and now and also for future events will be no vulgarity, no profanity, or hatred is permitted. We're going to respect one another. We highly encourage questions and comments. And if you can get online and voice your comments, that's great. If you can do it through social media, we will monitor those sites so that we can get to those questions. Okay, some of the problems we've identified. I'm not going to go through all of these, just the top two is not basically, but first and foremost, the offensive and defensive attitude towards African American males. It really hit home, that Trayvon Martin incident, because I grew up in Savannah, Georgia, and I choked up a little bit yesterday, and when I was talking about it, because it was a tough upbringing. It was in the projects, lots of drugs, violence, all kinds of things around us, and we want to tackle these problems from within and not point the blame at anybody, because a child doesn't know anything until he's been taught something, and if we're not mentoring, someone else is. And we always have to take into consideration kids in those types of environments and slightly better environments. When they walk outside the door, they're going to see some adult doing something, and that's going to be the first thing that they see. And children are mimickers by nature. They're going to mimic whatever it is that they see. you know so if it's the drug dealer with the nice car, the drug dealer with the girls, the gangster, you know buying things and grandstanding out on the corner, they're gonna gravitate towards that. And accessibility is one of the main things that this organization is designed to make possible, because many successful and positive black men like myself and the other gentlemen stated on the first chart, we're out in the world making a difference, making change, and making our way for our family and ourselves. And sometimes we're inaccessible. And we asked the question, another gentleman asked the question a couple months ago, it hit home with me, Harriet Tubman, if she had had the type of technology that we have now, would she say that we're doing enough? And my vision and our vision for the site is, say for instance, I'm always traveling for business related reasons. He, that the vision is that, hang on a second, I got somebody chime in. Comms check, somebody just logged in.
Rob just came in.
Okay. All right, Rob, can you mute your mic for a second, bro? I'm gonna turn the flow to you in a minute, man. I'm just going through to recap the slides. Appreciate you being here. Okay. Charts back up, Dante.
Yeah, I think we just lost Rob.
Okay, he'll probably come back in. Okay, but basically the vision for this organization is that we can be about our daily lives, making big moves in the world, and perhaps get a tweet on our phone that says, hey, I'm a young man in X, Y, and Z situation. What do you think? That's the way we want to be able to use this technology. And we got Rob having some technical difficulties, so I'm going to see why it keeps kicking him out. Let's see. Stand by for a second. We definitely want to get him in here. He has a lot of great insight. Rob Booker keeps kicking me off. Okay. Yeah, we might have to address Rob's issue because everyone else, he wasn't able to get in yesterday either. So we might have to get him to listen in another way. He might be on a device that has a low bandwidth or something like that. I'm just going to send him a link real quick and then continue on through these slides. Main mentors, March, Black Boys, activities, messages. Yeah, it's got to be an issue with the device that he's using. Okay, I'm just going to continue on trucking so I don't belabor this thing past the time that we want it to be in here. Just to do a recap. Okay, so that was the vision and basic value of African American male leadership and mentorship. And in terms of mentorship, another story, just coming up in a ghetto area. One of my teachers, a lady by the name of Betty Shell, when I was in the sixth grade, saw my potential as a writer and as an artist, and I was good with my hands. And she took it upon herself to introduce me to an engineer and architect named Wesley Williams. Wesley Williams, black fella, from Savannah, Georgia as well, had worked all over the country, New York and Florida, Georgia, everywhere, erecting structures. He's an architect. And he took me under his wing and taught me engineering when I was 13, 14 years old. And I stuck with this guy all the way through to the time that I graduated. And that was the first black guy to poke me in my chest and say, hey, where the hell have you been when I missed school? And that has an impact in a young man's life. That's why we want to use mentorship as a tool, a mechanism to perhaps break through to some of these young men. And it's not going to be something that's easy. We'll have to stay the course. And then there's these other items that we have listed. I'm going to run through them really quick. The amount of African American children in the foster care system, the amount of African American men on the streets, lack of support for African American males spiritually and the psyche, mental health support for African American males, the incident of rape of young African American males, disconnect between African American males and female support system, negative impact of hip hop culture and images. We had Mark Bryant in the session yesterday, and he hit it home. Years and years ago, music was about love. And I'm not going to steal his thunder. I want him to say it for himself, and I'm quite sure he'll hit on it again in other sessions. But he hit the hammer on the head. All you hear in music nowadays is killing, violence, degradation of women, and so on and so forth. And what that stuff does is it cultivates the psyche and gets us thinking in a negative way. When in the older days we were hearing songs by the Isley Brothers, Marvin Gaye, and other such artists, the Temptations, talking about love and how sweet it is to be loved by you. We were sending a message and promoting a message that we should love and build family and treat our women in a way that's going to make them love us in return. So we have to be careful with what we allow our children to listen to, and we have to step in and become the trendsetters once more, the adults, and sort of remove that from the children. Yes, the children are the future, and they're going to set trends, but we need to guide those trends in a healthy way, and how such convening discussions such as this can seriously take root and become a committed crusade. And that's a tough question. We're going to have to stay the course And there's also the class division and lack of community of African American males causing targeted isolation. And these are all touchy topics. And thanks to Tracy Willard for helping us hone in on these. And we'll get some insights from her at a later date and time. As stated before, this is just a recap, so we're going to move on. Here's what our mission is not. It's important to declare what the mission is not in order to clearly define the actual mission of this page. So we're not here to alienate ourselves from other ethnicities with whom we share the world. We're trying to we're trying to get ourselves together from within so that we're seen in a better light. We're seen for the kings and queens that we are. That's what we're trying to do. We don't want to alienate ourselves. We don't want to promote hate. And we're not here to alienate women who suffer similar social injustices. And we're definitely not here to create division or promote hatred. So if you're here to do that, you're in the wrong place. Our mission is to help create lasting solutions to systemic devaluation of black men, reduce crime and homicide rates, and prevent social injustices. Empirical evidence, from the beginning, since slaves first set foot on American soil in bondage, are evidence and indicative that there's a devaluation of black men. It's just evident. And now social media puts the power of media in our hands, and people have a nasty habit of thinking that it's something new, it's some type of new phenomena. Since the beginning of time, these things have been happening. And that word help is there for a reason, to help create solutions. We know that mentorship isn't the only solution, but it is one, and that's what we want to stand on. And we're not holding a march. We use the march figuratively to suggest that each one teach one by marching into some young man's life. And in terms of accessibility to positive black men, we want to make ourselves accessible, take advantage of the media that we have, social media and the technology that we have nowadays. You can be in an airport on your way to a business meeting. You're not doing anything anyways, so why not entertain a tweet or a text from some young man who needs some divine insight, from somebody who's already traveled the road that he's going down. And Frederick Douglass defines success by what one had to overcome to accomplish his goal. So we're not just talking about guys that are Ivy League and going to large business meetings. For instance, my older brother, I have 8 of them and 2 sisters, went to prison for murder when we were kids, and he got out. He came out of that situation. He overcame it, and right now he has his GED. He's working 2 jobs. Has a twit car, has his own car. He's no longer on parole. He has to answer to nobody, has his own apartment, has a young lady who he takes care of, and he's taking care of his children. So based off the things he's overcome in his life, he's considered a successful man. Hang on, I'm getting some tweets here. I'm going to have to entertain them. Okay. Just tech related issues. I'm gonna push through this thing so I can recap and we'll iron those out. Okay, so the Million Mentors March for Black Boys describes a positive black man as someone 25 years or older who has at least completed a high school equivalent, is employed, and provides sufficient support and guidance to any biological children that he has. And that's cut and dry. And believe it or not, each one of you that have made it to that point in your life and done that, at least that in your life, you have something to offer to one of these young men that is just going through blinded in the dark and sleepwalking in his life. You have something to offer to him, and we need more guys out there approaching, speaking to a young man, and you'll be surprised how they light up when you just say, hey man, nice pair of shoes. Look them in the eyes, acknowledge them. They're not invisible. Don't be afraid of your own people. A lot of people may perceive that as dangerous, but I think it's even more dangerous to allow some of these kids to continue on living in the wild. And mothers are doing a great job, don't get me wrong, out there, but a lot of homes are have absent father figures or positive father figures for that fact of the matter. So by stepping into these young men's lives, you do have the potential to turn somebody around and steer them in the right direction. Okay, guest speakers that we had were Mark Bryant, and Mark expounded on in great detail about gang violence in Florida and about the power of positivity. And it's definitely something that we need to get after. Definitely something that we need to get after. Okay. And Rob Booker, he's still having technical difficulties. We want to hear from him. We're going to help him iron those out for the next quarterly Million Mentors March web seminar, and you'll be hearing from Rob Booker. Okay, here's our information. We're located on Twitter, and we're also located on Facebook, Google Plus, and YouTube. And we can be reached at a Million Mentors March for Black Boys 01 at gmail.com. I'm going to leave this here up and turn the floor over to anyone online right now. I know we have Dante Hill, so he can hone in on something that I may have missed over that he noticed during the actual live session on yesterday.
Yeah, during the last session, Gus, we talked a lot about what's going on in our communities and developing solutions to these problems. And one of the things we touched on was accountability, setting a standard, developing a reading list, and it's just overall inspiring one another and not being bystanders in our own community. When we see something wrong, like I said, for too long we see something wrong, we don't correct it. We need to start. We need to start doing that. Growing up for me as a kid, I used to hear the stories. I'm on my way home from school and I've done something and I get a whipping all the way to the house. Those days are gone. We can't technically do that anymore, but we can hold each other accountable. Um, we talked on a few other things like developing a reading list. Not only for ourselves and for the people we're helping. And
Hey, go ahead, Dante. I didn't mean to cut you off. We got Rob in now. Rob, stand by. I'm gonna get the floor to you in a minute.
I'm good. Rob can take the floor.
Okay, thanks, Dante. Yeah, it looks like we lost Rob again. So yeah, we're gonna have to push through this thing. Yeah, I have to talk with him offline to figure out what his technical difficulties are. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the first chart back up so everyone can have our contact information on Twitter. And then I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this thing in the next 4 minutes or so. And I appreciate you stepping in here and helping me recap this thing, Dante. And I look forward to these events to take place quarterly. And we're going to have a lot of great insight. It was a beautiful occasion on yesterday to have so many positive brothers all in one arena, on one accord, not belittling or degrading women or degrading one another, but just here trying to put our heads together to get after a problem that's affecting our community. Because you can't just stand by and allow things to continue down a path. And I was in D.C. On some business about 3 weeks ago, and I sat down with Amir, and he made a very profound point. Dr. MLK was 34 years old when he gave the I Have a Dream speech, and even younger than that, when he did all the great things that led up to that point. And right now, I'm 35 years old. I don't liken myself to a man so great in no way possible, but we have to look at ourselves and are we stepping up and living up to the legacy that's been laid out before us? We have to carry the torch. We have to pay it forward because a lot of the rights and privileges that we have already been paid for in blood and even worse, and pain and suffering, you know. So we have to take it upon ourselves to be men. Men lead their households. I mean, take a look within your household. If the man of that household is into church, is into doing the right thing, is into community service, I'm willing to bet and guarantee that everyone else in that household is following suit in some way, form, or fashion. And
Yep.
on the other side of that coin, if the man of that household is a bad man or absent, not even there, let's just say he's in the household, but he's a bad man. He's into drugs and partying and fornication and all kind of other things. I guarantee you that his household is in disarray. in one way or another. People can say whatever they want to say, but we are leaders of our households, whether we know it or not, and we need to own that role and own it a
Mm-hmm.
lot better. And we need to extend that ownership beyond our households. And just like Dante stated before, stop walking by deficiencies and make that correction. And it's easier the younger you do it. Another quote from Frederick Douglass is it's easier to raise strong men than it is to repair broken men. You know, to raise strong children than it is to repair broken men. So start early. And I may have misquoted him. I didn't quote him to a T, but you guys get the point. We need to start early and start stepping into these young men's lives and not jumping on the streets, hollering and screaming and burning things down just because he's been shot down at 17. At that point, you know, it's too late. Where were you when that kid was 7 years old? You know,
Mm-hmm.
when he was cursing and pointing his finger in people's face and wearing his pants hanging off his butt and that standing out on the corner breaking glass. You know, we're in a sleepwalk. Is what many of us are in, and we don't even realize it. And one point that was discussed on yesterday, me personally, and we had all the guys contribute a story to the day that they woke up. And as I stated before, I grew up in Caton Homes housing projects in Savannah, Georgia, and it was bad times. And I remember times, you know, being woke out of my sleep to run outside and standing between my brother and a man with a gun. You know, that was the kind of environment that I was in, and it can shake a kid. But to me, this was normal living until one day, you know, I was introduced to a mentor, and that mentorship took course and eventually I found myself leaving Savannah for the first time on a school bus, or not on a school bus, but on a charter bus to go down to Atlanta to compete in a drafting competition that I had worked so hard and been diligent and was diligent to be selected to go to. And I arrived in Atlanta, got to the Westin Hotel, walked up to the counter, and I remember it vividly. It's the day that I woke up. The lady handed me my key and said, "Here's the key to your room, sir." And I stepped back and was like, "Sir, you talking to me?" And it was just amazing for me to be called sir. I had never been called that before. And I stayed in that hotel 3 nights, you know, and I had never lived so comfortably ever in my life and never been treated so well. Not that I was being abused at home or nothing like that, but we didn't have it so good. You know, we weren't living in no lap of luxury, to say the least. And after those 3 days was up, I drove back down to Savannah and got out of that car in Caton Homes. And for the first time in my life, I heard all the cussing. I heard all the glass busting on the ground in the middle of the night. I noticed every single roach crawling on the wall. I noticed the dirty walls. I just noticed everything. And I thought to myself, my God, how did I ever live here? You know? And that was my awakening moment. But here I was, 14 years old, with 4 years left before I can even do anything for myself to get out of there. And I mean, I didn't miss any days of school after that. You know, and I stayed the course and I was on the first thing smoking as soon as I graduated to basic training and the rest is history. You know, I'm a chief warrant officer in the Army now, college graduate, and hopefully I'm making a difference in the world. You know, and I know within my heart that Gus Wright isn't the only child living in that scenario that has a great deal to offer to the world. That's why we're offering this mentorship seminar. So I'm gonna give it to Dante one more time for any comments that he might have, and then I'm gonna close this thing out. And I hope you guys look forward to being a part of the next Million Mentors March for Black Boys seminar. And it's not going to stop here with seminars. We're going to take this step forward and develop apps so that we can put children in contact with willing mentors. And as of right now, they can do so on our Facebook page and on our Twitter page. Just reach out to us. Dante, if you have anything, give it to us, and then we're going to close it out.
I don't have much right now, guys. We pretty much covered everything. The recap was great. Like we said, we need to tackle these issues. We need to get these guys together. We need to come together like we did and continue to come together and share and have that powwow and figure this thing out.
Okay, bro, we definitely will. And I thank you for helping me do this recap. And for everybody that missed the original broadcasting, boy, you missed a momentous occasion, in the words of Muhammad Ali. Take it easy, you guys.